Welcome back to Retirement Money. Today, we're going to cover an article from Barron's.com. It was written by Joanne Jenkins, the CEO of AARP. So good facts there, especially for those individuals that are in their 60s and above. Clearly, Joanne and the group there knows what they're talking about with all the research and the purpose to bring additional value for those senior citizens. One interesting fact was the age group 65 plus, for the first time in history, has outpaced those that are 5 and younger. So what that's telling us is our overall population is aging. We'll continue to go down that line, what that means for the economy. It might be a little bit surprising for you. And again, at the end of the show, we'll add in one of our new clients, Rockin' Robin, one of her stories or her life story that got her to the point where she is right now. If you recall, our mission is simple. We're here to help 1 million individuals retire with more confidence. It's that simple. So going back to Joanne's article, she says that our ability to live longer, healthier, more productive lives is one of humankind's greatest accomplishments. In fact, over the next 2 decades, the age 65 plus group will be made up of 1 in 5 Americans, or 20%. So when you're walking around here the next couple of decades, you're going to see the population seemingly continue to become older. And so you may be thinking, oh, well, that's going to be a drag on the economy. It's a pool of dependence. Joanne is remarking that that's not happening as frequently as you may guess. And in fact, because they're living longer, healthier, more productive lives, that they're really bolstering the economy. So just think about it for a moment. If you've been working, 20, 30, 40 years, you've been accumulating most likely. Now you're in your 60s or potentially 70s, and you may have a little bit more, accessible funds to spend into the economy. So a good little interesting twist there that Joanne brought to our attention, which is obviously why we're bringing it to your attention. Additionally, outside of that there is a shift in mindset. So instead of saving for retirement, Joanne comments, the mindset should be saving for life. If you are living 20, 30 plus years into retirement, that's a big chunk of your life. And with the old adage of, what she brought to a light is the 3-legged stool, which is one of the oldest, they call it retirement planning tools, which was made up of Social Security, a private pension, employer private pension, and maybe your own personal savings. If you haven't noticed, majority of the private pensions have been dwindling over the last decades. And so what Joanne brought to our attention is maybe a new view or a 4-legged stool. So that 4-legged stool is still Social Security, okay? That can be very helpful as the years or decades of retirement go on. Secondly is personal savings. So just think of 401ks or 403bs out there. And it's less of the pensions, but the savings mechanisms that we've seen really more realistically over the last 20, 25 years. Thirdly is health insurance. So it's difficult to have a reliable retirement mindset there without understanding how health insurance is going to be a piece of that. And then fourthly, working in retirement or earned income. Now, I started off with obviously mentioning that Joanne and the group there at AARP, they know what they're talking about with their research and identifying, what's really driving their fellowship. Secondly is you may have some arguments with her 4-legged stool. So a quick example, Social Security, yes, absolutely, big leg there. You may also have noticed that with the current law, if nothing is changed, if Congress doesn't make adjustments, then there could be a reduction in Social Security for individuals, or will be, in fact, the way that the current law is written. So that's step one. Step two is when you think of your personal savings and potentially the 401k, is it a mindset of just making the match or getting the match from your employer? Do you have a mindset of a particular dollar value, $500,000, $1 million in your account? In that kind of arbitrary account value, what you should be thinking about next is, okay, how does that then fold into my retirement planning? What is the cash flow? How do you balance off the risk reward, so to speak, and find ways to potentially, let's just say, regain or refill the bucket that you're using, if you're going to be using it for 30 years. Thirdly, healthcare or health insurance for most individuals will be through Medicare. Okay, that it's almost mandated in a lot of cases. And one thing to note there, long-term care is not covered through Medicare. Now it is for a very short period, but generally speaking, long-term care would not be covered through Medicare. And then fourthly is working. And so that seems a little bit like an oxymoron, right? So working in retirement, and ideally you're doing that because you want to. Maybe there is a passion that you're able to be compensated for, or different hobbies, and not necessarily because you have to. So a good look at the four-legged stool at this point, but you could have your own views on that. So go ahead and read the article and maybe think through what that really looks like for you. Again, we're gonna finish up with a client story. I love this client story. We call her Rockin' Robin. She's a new client that came on, single female, worked for 30 years for a Fortune 500 company, traveled all over the world, even relocated to move up the chain. She's one of the few that does have a private pension, Social Security, 401k. She's been contributing to a Roth IRA and a brokerage account. So she has many different buckets or access to retirement funds. She is 60, retiring from the Fortune 500 company, but because she wants to, she's going to be using some of her skills a little bit differently and at her own pace, and plans to work for the next 10 years. Yes, plans to work until she's 70, not because she has to, because she wants to. So that is another example of the mind shift there of, not just falling into the dependent pool, but really having the mindset of being productive, continuing to progress herself personally, and like we mentioned earlier, progressing the economy that's all around us. Okay, so again, if you enjoyed the show, if some of the notes were meaningful to yourself, if you liked the article, hats off to AARP and Joanne there and Barron's. Make sure you subscribe, share with a friend. Again, we're looking to help 1 million potential retirees retire with more confidence. Until next time, enjoy your day.